Cold start. The fuel pump in this thing is so loud. Now this morning, we have a pretty far drive ahead of us onto our trailer as we're bringing this thing back to fabrication. But before we get this thing loaded up, let's go ahead and toss on our hood, our bumper, both of our fenders. That way it is a complete car dropping it off. And just like that, it looks like a complete car again, except my side markers. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you guys the best part. It now drives. Now, although it does drive right now, it is currently front wheel drive. I pulled my whole drivetrain out of this car as I'm switching to a new drivetrain. I got a billet viscous showing up any day now, and we're going through and remaking my drive shaft, but it doesn't matter. The car drives. Let's go ahead, back up the trailer, drive this thing for the very first time under its own power on the trailer and get this thing dropped off. It's officially wintertime here. It's like 20 something so odd degrees. Brutally cold. Kind of sucks that now this is kind of when we're getting to the completion of the Honda, but we're still gonna enjoy it this winter. Almost there. And we have made it to straight fabrication. And here we go, guys. The Honda made it to our local fabrication shop, Straight Fabrication. And if you're new here, this is the fabrication shop that has done all of the fabrication work on this car, including this fully custom turbo kit. And their fabrication work is top tier, so this car is getting dropped back off to get a ton of small things added. And for starters, we are throwing in a passenger seat. But really the main reason is once we get this thing tuned, I want to start throwing passengers in here and get their reaction on the street, because this is going to be an absolute animal. So of course, gotta get the passenger seat so we can get some funny footage of all of the reactions with people. Now, since I'm a pretty short dude, I was having an issue fitting in this car. So last round of fab here, they made me some gorgeous custom seat brackets. That way I fit perfectly how I need in this car. Because at the end of the day, this is a race car. I need to be able to sit perfectly as this car is built for me driving, going down the drag strip. So they're going through on the passenger side and also building some very gorgeous seat brackets. The thing that they're doing on the interior for me is, since of course this is a freshly painted chassis, I'm not running carpet in here. They're making me some aluminum dimple dyed false floors. That way I can wear my shoes in here without scuffing up my brand new paint. And it's gonna look gorgeous, matching all of their other billet aluminum we have on here. So that's where this car is gonna live for the next few days. Once they're done, we're gonna go ahead, pick this thing up and start our tuning. And 1 week later, the Honda is done for its third round of fab. Almost everything is now complete. In the beginning of the video, you guys saw, this thing is now running, driving, half driving. We are front wheel drive right now. I'm waiting on this company to send me my missing piece to get my driveline done. That is kind of where we're at with this car. So many custom things on here. It is a ginormous waiting game, which sucks because I want this car to be complete just as much as you guys. I want to drive this thing, tune it, all of that stuff. I'm just waiting on so many small custom things from all of these different companies, but we're super close. Let me give you guys a rundown on everything they did. Now, the biggest reason I dropped this car off was to get this one thing complete. As you guys know, I took this thing down to a bare chassis, removed all the carpet, the sound deadening. I was having an issue with my foot clearance. My foot was a lot lower than the pedals, so I had them go through and build me some custom floor plates, raised it about 1.5 inches. That when I'm driving this car, my heel is planted on the floor now, and I can actually drive this thing. Beforehand, my feet were just floating, made it very uncomfortable to drive. But now we have one for the driver's seat and the passenger. Another reason as well is the floor is painted. I didn't want to scuff it up with my shoes. Every single time I got in this car, I was wearing my socks because I didn't want to scuff up the paint, but now we don't have to worry about that. Now, instead of just doing a floor plate on the passenger side, I also put one against the firewall. My ECU is mounted right beneath. My biggest concern is when I have passengers in here, I don't want someone kicking all my wiring, so now we have this stout floor plate so someone could rest their foot against here and not damage any of my wiring. And then we also now have a passenger seat bolt in here. They made some custom seat brackets. Looks amazing, so when we do finally go for some power hits on the street, we can throw some friends in here, some passengers, get their reactions, and of course, when we are racing at the track, we're gonna go ahead and just remove that seat, save a little bit of weight, even though these things weigh, I think, like 3 pounds, which is really nothing. Let's go ahead and give this thing a nice little cold start. A proper cold start now that it is freezing cold outside. We are in the middle of winter. It's like 30 some odd degrees. Brutally cold. Let's see if this thing starts up fairly decent, as this thing is still on a bass tune. Now, will this thing fire up first go? Maybe not. Right as I get out, damn it.
Are you out of fuel?
No, I shouldn't be. Did you drain any?
Nope.
No. Now, the best part about being on a standalone is you have so much control over the ECU. Look at this. I've been wanting to do rotational idle on a car for so long. It sounds so crazy. Now, one of my favorite things with this build is, weirdly enough, my quick release hood. It makes it so easy to work in the engine bay. But there we go. We just got our thermocouple hooked up and wired in on the inside, as you guys can see right back there. But now that we know that all of the wiring on the chassis works, I want to go through and just clean up all of the harnesses on here, as it is kind of a little bit of a rat's nest. The engine bay looks absolutely perfect. The engine bay is now 100% done. There's nothing that we need to change in here. It looks amazing. You can barely see the harness. You can see it here, and then all of the wiring going into the firewall. But the engine bay from a first glance is pretty damn clean. But now let's go ahead, turn over the engine, connect our ECU up to our laptop, and see if our EGT and back pressure is monitoring on here, or if we need to change some wiring up, as I haven't tested it yet. Loud fuel pump. Well, right off the bat, I pulled up our EGT channel. It's showing negative 460 degrees Fahrenheit. That doesn't quite seem right. Go ahead and load up our back pressure as well. So it looks like our back pressure is reading. Our EGT though, we gotta figure out what's going on. This just gets me so excited. A year ago today, this was a bare chassis. I was just starting the body work on this thing, and a year later, it runs, it drives, half drives, it's front wheel drive like I mentioned. But we're just going through and working out all of the kinks for next season racing because unfortunately it is winter time now. Unfortunately, I don't know how much Honda content I'm able to get out during the season, especially if there's snow on the ground. But we're just working out all the kinks on this thing. Next season is going to be one hell of a race season. And here we go. We can now monitor our exhaust gas temperature and all of our cylinders. It's pretty cool being able to see the live readout on this. This is my first time really ever messing with the Haltech control. It's so cool. One last thing I want to do before I end off this video is to remove all of the painter's tape we have underneath here, as they didn't want to destroy my paint. So we're going to go ahead and remove the floor plates, remove all of the tape, put it back on, and see what the end result looks like. Now I gotta figure out how to get this thing out of here. And now we can pull all of this tape off. And now we can throw this side back in. And boom, now take a look at what this interior looks like. I just tucked all the wires behind that floor plate. Didn't actually tuck anything yet, but this interior looks so crispy. Now, one of the parts that I've been waiting for is actually a full carbon dash. It weighs 1.5 pounds. Granted, the stock one doesn't weigh much either, but it's gonna make the interior look absolutely insane. I am also doing some carbon door cards. That's one part we're waiting on. I ordered it, I think 3 months ago. No word, I think I got scammed. Been trying to get a hold of the dude. Every single part I've been waiting on for this car is the same situation. I don't know if I got scammed or not, which sucks because it's thousands and thousands of dollars in parts that I'm waiting for. Like my billet viscous is one of the parts, full carbon dash, a ton of miscellaneous stuff like that as well. It sucks, it really does, but it's looking great how it is. But let's go ahead, back this thing out of the shop, give you guys a quick little montage of how this thing is coming together. Now, truthfully, I'm not quite sure when the next Honda upload is gonna be. As you guys know, I've been waiting on a ton of those miscellaneous parts to come in, which is the last things we need for here. Now, I've had a ton of things happening in the background that you guys have not been updated on. So the next upload with this car might be in my brand new shop.